Right now, somewhere in the world, a 19-year-old with no degree, no inheritance, and no connections is making more money this month than most people will make in the next 10 years combined. And 2 blocks away from him, a man with 2 master's degrees, 20 years of experience, and a spotless resume is checking his bank account, refreshing it twice, hoping the number changed since this morning. It didn't. Same city, same economy, same 24 hours in the day. So what's actually different between them? It's not luck, it's not timing, it's not who you know. It's the 7 silent decisions running in the background of one man's mind and missing entirely from the others. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what those 7 decisions are, and more importantly, you're going to know which ones you're already making wrong right now, today, without even realizing it. Because here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. 99% of people are not poor because of the economy. They're not poor because the system is rigged. They're not poor because they didn't get a lucky break. They're poor because of what's happening between their own 2 ears. And if you don't fix that first, no amount of money that ever lands in your hands will stay there. Stick with me until the end, because step 5 is the one that separates the people who get rich once from the people who stay rich forever, and almost nobody talks about it. Let's start with something most people have never heard, but once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Every single person alive is operating with an invisible number in their head. Psychologists sometimes call it a financial thermostat. It's not your salary, it's not your bank balance, it's the amount of money your subconscious mind has decided you are allowed to have. Go over that number and something strange happens. You self-sabotage, you make a bad investment, you lend money you shouldn't lend. You suddenly need a new card the same month you got a bonus. Your subconscious mind pulls you back down to the number it believes you deserve, because that number feels safe, familiar, and correct. Go under that number, and the opposite happens. You work harder. You take on a second job. Something in you refuses to stay below your set point for long. The wealthy understand this thermostat. The other 99% don't even know it exists. And here's the part that stings. That thermostat wasn't set by you. It was set by the conversations you overheard at your kitchen table before you were even 10 years old. It was set by watching how the adults around you reacted every time money came up. Did they say money doesn't grow on trees? Did they say rich people are greedy? Did they say we can't afford that as a reflex before even checking the price? Every one of those sentences was a brick, and by the time you were a teenager, without a single conversation about it, you had already built a ceiling above your own head, and you built it with your own 2 hands. The wealthy didn't inherit permission to be rich. They inherited a different set of bricks, and where those bricks were missing, they went and built new ones themselves as adults. Think about your own life for a second. Has there ever been a moment where things were going unusually well? A good month at work, an unexpected bonus, a small win, and then, almost immediately afterward, something happened to knock you back down. A surprise expense, a conflict with someone close to you, a decision that, looking back, made almost no sense. That wasn't bad luck. That was the thermostat doing exactly what it was built to do, bringing you back to the number that feels normal. The wealthy break this cycle in a very specific, very deliberate way. They don't wait for their comfort with money to catch up naturally over years and years. They force the update. They read the biographies. They study the habits. They put themselves, on purpose, in rooms full of people for whom large numbers are simply normal conversation until their own sense of normal quietly recalibrates to match. That's the first difference. And if you've made it this far in the video, you probably already suspect you have a ceiling somewhere. Keep watching, because in the next section, I'm going to show you exactly how self-made billionaires demolish that ceiling, and it starts with the decision most people are terrified to make. Before we go further, I want you to actually do something right now, not later. Comment the number 1 if you've ever caught yourself saying, "I can't afford that," before you even looked at the price. I read every single comment, and I want to see how many of you are carrying the same ceiling I used to carry. Now, let's talk about decision number 2, the one that separates people who dream about wealth from people who actually build it. Here is a sentence that should be taught in every school on earth and isn't. You cannot get rich by trading hours for dollars. It is mathematically impossible. There are only 24 hours in a day. Even if you charge $1,000 an hour, which almost nobody does, you are capped. Your income has a ceiling the second it depends on your physical presence. Every billionaire you've ever heard of, whether they built a tech company, a real estate empire, a media brand, or a chain of restaurants, made the same fundamental decision at some point in their life. Stop trading time, start owning outcomes. That means owning a piece of a business instead of a paycheck from one. That means owning equity instead of a title. That means owning an asset that keeps producing money whether you get out of bed or not. Most people spend their 20s and 30s climbing a ladder that has an invisible ceiling built into its very structure, a salary. A promotion feels good, a raise feels good, but a raise is still just a slightly bigger version of trading your one finite, non-renewable resource, your time, for money. The wealthy figured out something the other 99% never sit still long enough to learn. Money is renewable, time is not. So if you're going to spend one to get the other, you should always spend the renewable one. This is why you'll see 18-year-old kids running online businesses, buying rental units, or building small e-commerce brands, and outpacing 40-year-old professionals with decades of experience. It's not because they're smarter, it's because they figured out the game earlier. Ownership beats employment every single time over a long enough timeline. Now I know what some of you are thinking. That's easy to say. I don't have capital to invest in anything. Stay with me, because that excuse, the one you just thought, is actually decision number 3, and it's the one that keeps more people poor than any other belief on this list. Here's the lie almost everyone believes. I need money to make money. It sounds true, it feels true, and it is the single most expensive lie a person can believe because it gives you permission to do nothing. The truth is far less comfortable. You need a skill people will pay for before you need a single dollar of capital. Capital is just stored skill. It's proof that at some point, somebody solved a problem well enough that other people were willing to pay for it repeatedly. Every fortune you can name started with someone solving one specific, painful problem for one specific group of people better than anyone else was solving it at the time. Not with a pile of cash, with a skill, a problem, and enough persistence to keep showing up after the first 10 failures. The 99% wait until they feel ready, until they've saved enough, until conditions are perfect. The 1% start solving problems with whatever skill they already have today with zero capital, because they understand something the rest of the world doesn't. Capital is a result. It is never a starting point. If you're sitting there right now telling yourself you'll start once you have some money saved up, I need you to hear this clearly. You are describing a condition that will never arrive on its own. The money doesn't come first. It never has, it never will. The skill comes first. The value comes first. The money is simply what shows up afterward as a receipt for value already delivered. Look at almost any wealthy founder's origin story and you'll find the same pattern hiding underneath the highlight reel. A small, unglamorous starting point, a garage, a spare bedroom, a laptop bought secondhand. What made the difference was never the size of the starting capital. It was the size of the problem they were willing to sit with long enough to actually solve. The 99% are searching for a shortcut around the uncomfortable middle part, the part where you're not good yet, where nobody's paying attention, where the results haven't shown up. The 1% learn to treat that uncomfortable middle part as the entire game because they understood that whoever survives it the longest usually wins. If this is hitting different than the usual motivational fluff you've seen, that's because we're not done. We're actually only halfway through the 7 decisions, and the next one is the reason most people who do manage to get rich lose it all within a few years. Make sure you're subscribed, because next week we're breaking down the exact daily schedule of 3 specific billionaires, minute by minute, and it is nothing like you'd expect. Now, decision number 4. Most people think risk tolerance is something you're born with. It isn't. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, if you never use it, it atrophies, and eventually even small risks feel unbearable. Here's what almost nobody tells you about the wealthiest people on the planet. They were not fearless. They were simply willing to be uncomfortable longer than everyone else around them. Think about the biggest financial decision you've made in the last 5 years. For most people, that decision was something like which safe investment account to put a small amount of savings into. For the ultra-wealthy, the biggest decision of their year might be walking away from a stable paycheck to fund an idea nobody else believed in yet. That gap? That's not intelligence. That's tolerance for discomfort, trained over time, one small risk at a time. The 99% avoid risk because they were taught that security is the highest goal a person can achieve. Stable job, steady paycheck, predictable life. And to be clear, there's nothing wrong with wanting stability. But here's the part nobody says out loud. Stability without growth is just a slow-motion version of standing still while everyone else moves forward. The 1% understand that risk isn't reckless if it's calculated. They don't gamble, they study the downside, they build a floor under themselves, and then they jump anyway because they've trained the muscle enough times to trust it. If you've never taken a real risk in your financial life, that muscle is still sitting there, unused, waiting. And the good news is, it's never too late to start training it. You just have to start small, on purpose, today. Start with something small enough that failure wouldn't hurt, but real enough that it stretches you. A small investment you research yourself instead of following the crowd. A side project you actually finish and put in front of paying strangers. A conversation you've been avoiding because the outcome feels uncertain. None of these will make you rich by themselves, but each one adds a little more strength to a muscle that one day will need to carry something far heavier, and by then, you want it already trained. Now here's the section I promised you at the very beginning, the one that separates the people who get rich once from the people who stay rich forever. Getting money and keeping money require 2 completely different skill sets. Most lottery winners are broke again within 5 years. Most professional athletes who earned millions are broke within a few years of retirement. This isn't a coincidence, and it isn't bad luck. It's because earning a windfall and managing wealth long-term are 2 entirely different disciplines, and almost nobody teaches the second one. The habit that bridges that gap is brutally simple and brutally unglamorous. Relentless, boring daily review of where the money goes. Self-made billionaires, almost without exception, obsess over numbers long after they've already made it. Not because they're greedy, because they understand that wealth isn't a single event, it's a system. And systems require maintenance, where they quietly fail from the inside, long before the failure becomes visible on the outside. The 99% treat money like a mood. It comes in, it goes out, and the details get blurry the second the bills are paid. The 1% treat money like a machine. They track it, they audit it, they know exactly what's working, what's leaking, and what needs to be reinvested versus what needs to be cut. This single unglamorous habit, reviewing the numbers consistently, without emotion, is the actual difference between generational wealth and a story you tell at parties about that one good year you had. We're almost at the finish line, and I want to tell you something before we get to the final 2 decisions. If you felt even one small spark of recognition watching this video, if any part of you thought, "That's me," that spark is not an accident. That's the part of you that already knows something needs to change. Don't let it fade the second this video ends. Write down which section hit you the hardest right now in the comments. It matters more than you think. Now, the final two decisions, and the second one is the one that ties this entire video together. There's an old idea that your income tends to land somewhere close to the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Whether or not the exact math holds up, the underlying truth is impossible to ignore. Your environment sets your ceiling before your effort ever gets the chance to. If everyone around you treats a stable paycheck as the finish line, you will subconsciously start treating it as the finish line too, even if you never say it out loud. If everyone around you talks about the economy like it's a wall instead of a door, you'll start seeing walls everywhere you look, even where there are none. The wealthy don't just network for opportunities, they curate their environment on purpose, the same way you'd curate a diet. They surround themselves with people who make bigger goals feel normal instead of arrogant, because ambition is contagious, but so is comfort with mediocrity, and most people have no idea which one they've been breathing in for years. You don't need to abandon the people you love to change your environment, but you do need to be honest about who is expanding your sense of what's possible and who is quietly, lovingly keeping you exactly where you are. And now, the 7th decision, the one every other decision on this list actually depends on. Every single strategy we just covered, ownership over employment, skill before capital, calculated risk, disciplined tracking, curated environment, every single one of them requires the same underlying shift to actually stick. And that shift is this: you cannot out-earn your own self-image. If deep down, a part of you still believes you're not the kind of person who gets rich, you will unconsciously sabotage every single strategy on this list, one way or another, until the results match the story you secretly believe about yourself. This is why some people can read every book, watch every video, follow every step, and still end up back where they started. It's not because the strategies don't work, it's because you can give a person a map to the mountain, but if they believe deep down that people like them don't climb mountains, they will find a way to turn back before they ever reach the summit. The wealthy, almost without exception, made a decision about their identity before the money ever arrived. They didn't wait to feel like a successful person once the bank account caught up. They decided who they were first, and then spent years closing the gap between that decision and reality. That is the actual mindset shift in the title of this video. Not a trick, not a hack, not a morning routine. A decision about identity made in advance of any evidence to support it. Held on to stubbornly and long enough that reality eventually has no choice but to catch up. So here's where that leaves you. 99% of people will read a list like this, feel something for about 30 seconds, and go right back to the exact same routine tomorrow morning. They'll tell themselves it was interesting. They'll move on with their day. The other 1% are going to do something different in the next 10 minutes. They're going to pick one, just one, of these 7 decisions and actually apply it today. Not next Monday, not when things calm down, today. Maybe that's reviewing your spending line by line for the first time in months. Maybe that's finally starting the skill you've been meaning to learn for 2 years. Maybe that's simply admitting honestly which one person in your life has been quietly capping your ambition without either of you ever noticing it. Whichever one it is, the decision itself is the whole video. Everything else was just context. If this gave you even a little bit of clarity, hit subscribe, because every single week on this channel, we break down exactly how the wealthiest people on Earth actually think, live, and build. No fluff, no filler, just the mindset behind the money. And drop a comment telling me which of these 7 decisions you're starting with today. I read all of them, and next week's video might just be based on what you tell me. This is Billionaire Vibes. I'll see you in the next one.